Mr. Michael Shockey.
Hey folks, how are we?
Good to hear. I feel like I'm head of a classroom right now. I feel very weird. It's good to be here in New York City, guys, isn't it? Doing well with the weather, right? One of the greatest cities of the world. I had to realize this fact recently because about less than a month ago, I was in the hospital for a good couple weeks. I had a nice little surgery. Very abnormal thing. Like, I've had Crohn's disease for like 16 years. It's a pretty shitty disease, literally. One of the things about it is weird things just happen and your doctors just don't know how to explain it and you just gotta take it, hey, alright, that's cool. Here's what happened. I was in Vegas and I thought I had the flu and I was having a flare-up. I come to New York City, I find out I've got scar tissue that's attached to the muscle, and meanwhile, my intestines that are normally like this blew up like that and then got tangled up in a knot. So basically I had no digestive system. And my doctors were just nonchalantly fine with this for 4 days. Like, oh, I'm just gonna do some surgery. I know you haven't eaten. 13 days, no problem. I lost 25 pounds though, I'll tell you that. So if you're looking for a diet, find a way to get Crohn's disease. And hope for the worst, because it will. Crohn's disease is a very weird disease. Even though I've had it this long, people still don't know what it is. It doesn't really help with the foundation, considering they think the one problem of Crohn's disease is finding a bathroom. The other thing is, Crohn's disease, just no one really knows about it. It's really hard to explain. It seems like that you have to learn a couple definitions with it, but you know, when you talk to people, they always try relating with you. It's like, hey Mike, you used to have a friend that had Crohn's disease. Either A, they were a bad friend, or B, they died of Crohn's disease. The way I don't really want to know that. You know, one of the other things about the disease is you have to do some weird abnormal tests, some things that you just don't even question. One of the things is called the stool test. It's basically what it is right there. I don't think I need to explain that. Now, something happened. Before New York, I'd always driven with my shit and dropped it off at a lab. This time in New York, I had to deal with public transportation. And I don't know about you, I have a lot of issues with carrying around shit and looking normal with it. I don't know how the homeless do it. Like, it's very, very weird. Like, you gotta think about it. They know their way around the land there. Here's what happened. I had to do a transfer. I made it all the way to Brooklyn Bridge, and then I hop on the 4 and I'm going to Union Square. This girl starts looking at me. I've got it in between my feet and I've got 3 samples, so I'm making sure that none of these samples come rolling out, you know. They're in a lunch bag, and then inside the lunch bag is a biohazard bag each one is wrapped in. And she starts looking at me, and it's not a good look, trust me. Very suspicious. So we get off at Union Square, she starts talking to a cop, points at me. I started going, wait a minute, I'm a little self-centered, this is New York City. This isn't about me. Then it was, because the cop grabbed me by my collar, and it turns out the cop thought I had a bomb. I did have a sort of bomb right now, but it wasn't any 9/11 type like bomb. And you know when someone asks you what's in the bag and you know what's in the bag, you still don't want to tell them the truth, what's in the bag. So I was just fumbling through my words like, my doctor ordered it. Didn't really make me look sane. Then he decided, let's look in the bag. We were right in between the trains where the 6 and the 4 and 5 are. He starts taking it out, looking at it like he's in life science right now. I don't know about you, but I kind of know what shit is right away, you know? I'm kind of scared about New York's finest when they need to take a minute or two to find out what shit is. He finally puts it in the bag. He shoves it into my chest, which I'm both scared about because I don't want the shit on me even though it's mine. He said, well, kind of disrespectful. You just thought I had a bomb. Now you just threw shit in me. So he shoves it. I asked for his badge number. He tells me to fuck off. I guess that's a proper response. I've got to carry shit now still, so I'm not a really trustworthy citizen right now. So it turns out the girl who stuck around the whole time for some reason decides to walk with me almost towards the doctor's office into the elevator. Pretty weird. Thought she was kind of cute, but you can't really hit on someone that thought you had a bomb. You know, that's kind of like an insult. I'm thinking, Loli, it wouldn't be like a good story to tell your grandkids. Your grandma thought I had a bomb, actually. Turns out I was wrong. So I put it in, drop it off at my doctor's office. Right now, that's a lesson learned for each patient now when they're carrying around their shit. I am that example that they tell. Now, the other thing is, I get intrigued when people get really fascinated about the disease. I was on OkCupid for a time being. There's a most private thing you were willing to admit, and I put once, I have Crohn's disease. Bad mistake. Bad mistake. Girl responds back for about a good hour and a half talking about Crohn's disease. Don't know about you, but that's probably not good when she knows more about the disease than you. So I still decide to meet her out on a date. We get a little intimate later on in the night. She's on top of me, and she decides to throw me a nice little curveball. Like, I don't mind talking dirty in bed, but she threw me something I was not expecting ever. Would you shit on me? A couple of things came through my head. One, as in the number of sheet sets I have. Two, what is the protocol on cleaning up the shit? Is it the person who shits on it? Is it the person who requested it? Very confused. I think that's why we created the toilet, honestly. We couldn't set any ground rules or anything. Now, the weird thing is, I was staring at her for like a good minute, and I go, no? You'd be thinking that'd be taken, okay, this guy doesn't like shitting on me. That's fine. He's a nice guy. No! Gets right off, leaves. I was the man full of shit who didn't want to give her any of it. Not at all. Pretty bad. But, you know, the weird thing is also, with my life, is that I haven't let Crohn's disease hold me back from anything. Considering also, you're looking at the very first comedian who's not just talking about porn because he jacked off to it, but has actually been in porn. Yes, I've done porn, and I think it's ended, actually, because this whole little mess. Considering also I was being asked before the surgery if I would shit on girls. Not my type of genre. I told them, I was like, I already know that I don't like doing that. How do you know? I just like pooping in the toilets. I don't know, it's something about a nice little comfort about doing that. Couple of weird things about the porno industry. Actually, there's many weird things about it, but I think we all know. I didn't do anything weird and kinky now. I did go to the AVNs in January to film a couple more scenes, and I was still like a free agent, and I had an agent that I was going to meet, and he was like, hey, make sure you bring your business cards with you. Business cards? He was like, how else is someone going to remind themselves about you? And I go, okay. And I'm like, what exactly goes on a business card for porn? And he's like, your dick. Alright, any other industry that'd probably be weird, like I'm a real estate agent, here's my dick. So he gives me this, I have like literally like 15 minutes to plan this out on the cards. I have no idea what to still do. I'm like, I don't want to put a dick on there. So I look like a really cheesy real estate agent on the front of it. And on the back of it, Vistaprint gives you like a little chance to put thank you. And underneath thank you is me with a boner. So I'm going to the convention just handing out to people these cards, like, here you go. I'm Mark Cox. They're looking at it. They're seeing this like young boy in a suit with like a phone number. It looks like he's actually like applying for like a real job, you know? They're looking at me, what the fuck? Who are you? And then they look on the back. They're like, ah, you did a good one, guy. You're good. The other weird thing is, I didn't realize this. This is something I should have really considered before going into the industry was, sometimes when you go into the industry, you have to fuck someone you don't want to fuck. You're just under contract to do it, though. It's like, all right, you signed up for this. Get in there. But I'm sober. Do it. You told us you liked fucking. Get in there. So I walk into this director's house, and there's like a dog that greets me. So I'm like, hey, I'm gonna pet the dog. This is awesome. Maybe there's something like not scary about this place now. And then I see the woman, and I don't know about you, I've seen a couple of vaginas in my time, not like Wilt Chamberlain or anything like that, but let's just say I've dealt with a couple bad hygienic ones, you know? So sometimes you don't want to, you know, eat one or anything. And I saw this lady, she was sweaty and pretty old and gross, and I go, first thought in my head was, I don't want to eat her out. I do not want to eat her out. And I found out within a couple minutes, I was eating her out. There were no questions asked. We just sat down on the couch. She said, what positions do you like? I started telling her my basic positions. She goes, first thing, you're eating me out. All right. I'm not gonna like it, I'm gonna tell you that. So, weird thing is, she's giving me a blowjob. That's not the weird part. What happens is, ladies, be very careful with your fake nails. Let me say this, why? It was digging into the side of my dick, and it was cutting off circulation. And I didn't know this. I didn't know you could just stop things that were happening during the scene. I didn't know the guy had any control whatsoever, you know? I thought you just had to go with the pain and do it. So I was like, alright, this is a mental thing, even though I'm like, oh, this fucking hurts. My dick's probably gonna fall off when she's done clawing with this, you know? Doesn't. Turns out they just get tired of a girl sucking your dick for about 25 minutes. And then the director goes, what's wrong? And I show him. He's like, oh, god damn it, why didn't you say anything? And I'm like, embarrassed. I'm like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. And he's like, alright, tell you what, you're popping a Viagra, we're gonna take a little break, and then you're gonna go back, alright? So, let the Viagra rush through a 30-year-old's body, which is, woo, pretty weird. Your blood just feels like I'm gonna get out of your body one way or another. I am not gonna care how. If you're dead, you're dead. I'm out. So finally, the scene's coming up, and he's got this nice sectional couch, and so I'm drilling her, you know, on the sectional couch. I don't know how to put it, really, because here's what happens. Remember the dog that I mentioned earlier? Dog decides to jump up on the sectional couch, decide to jump in the scene. Like, he didn't start boning one of us, but he was in there. Now, here's the weird thing.